Well, hello, it's Mike Festiva. Welcome back. In this video, I go out and buy a 20-year-old neglected Rhino side-by-side. This thing had good potential, but has definitely been heavily neglected. So we go through, start fixing up cosmetically and mechanically. There's a lot to be done in the video. This may just be a part one, but it had a lot of good features. It had nice rims, tires. It had some aftermarket aluminum doors welded up for it, some extra bumper stuff, LED light bar, windshield, roof. Lots of good stuff, but a lot of stuff that had to be stripped down on here and repaired. A lot of good things going for it. Had some good bones, but it's also been heavily neglected. So if it's something you're interested, stick around and enjoy the video. One thing I want to mention, with 1,800 or 1,900 miles on it and 625 hours, it just doesn't seem right. I think that's like 3 miles an hour that thing's mainly traveled at. So if you have one of these Rhinos, let me know your hours to miles, because they don't seem quite right on this thing. Who knows, maybe that's been replaced or something wasn't counting correct.
Oh man, look at that taillight. What a junker.
First things first, get rid of this faded out window you can't see out of. That thing's got to go.
Looks better already.
So the missus had to take it out for a quick cruise. I think she was more excited about it when I went to go buy it than I was. So this thing came with a bunch of parts, bits and pieces, some good, some bad, but also had a messed up jug and head, because at some point someone over-revved this thing, blew the valves right through the piston, and the previous owner went and rebuilt it with a bunch of Yamaha parts, and actually runs pretty good now, but it had a rough past. So when I got this, a friend told me that the back brake pads were shot down there at the brake caliper. Where's the brake caliper? Yeah. So we pulled off this rattly guard that wasn't secured right. We're going to address that. Pressure wash in here more. But turns out the brake pads that were in the glove box that have definitely been sitting around for a long time, they don't look right for it. And so we're going to order some on Amazon and some other parts. So I think we're going to address a little more cosmetic things today, because we don't have the parts to fix it until tomorrow. So got a pressure wash yesterday. We might pull off some of these fender flares, start cleaning up the plastic, and maybe start painting on it. So I know some of my subscribers are probably already wondering, why do I need a side-by-side? I got the K truck and I got my articulating dump truck I built from the ground up. Well, I don't really need it, but I've always wanted one. Typical for my style is finally pick one up after it's 20 years old. I got a good price on it. As you can see, it's pretty worn out, but I like a project anyhow, especially going into fall. And it's something I really want to go cruise around, explore back roads and trails with my older son, because it's something he can do. And eventually we're going to add a roll bar to it and a back seat for the boys, so we can all go out as a family on back roads and trails. So I've seen quite a few people that have taken a torch to the plastic and brought back the color on blue ones and green ones. The red is a little bit flashy for me, and the fact that it fades out to pink, I don't really want to have a pink side by side. So I got this red. It's called the Colonial Red. It's a little less of a candy red. I just think it'll be a little more utility looking, because I'm not going for a fast racer look. Hey, that looks a lot better than this original fender here. Keep in mind, there's those big black mud flaps, the fender extensions that we're going to put on here. So here's a painted fender flare and fender. I like the way it looks. It kind of reminds me of an old Toyota pickup truck color. Looks a lot better than what that faded paint looks like.
Nah, I like the pink more.
Good old Frankenstein zip tie repair going on the back corner. Didn't want to buy new plastic, not trying to break the bank on it. Probably should get a plastic welder at some point, but don't have one, so work with what I got. Gonna get these mounted here. Actually dug through the box and found a bunch of this extra hardware here. Speaking of hardware, bunch of the parts I was waiting on showed up. I got everything: Yamaha oil filter, pressure washer oil for the differentials. Change those out. I like to set a kind of a baseline where this thing's at. So I ordered a full set of pads. Bunch of these little screw-in plastic fasteners that these things are held together with. These are like glorified 4x4 golf carts. Got some new LED headlights to replace the HID ones that are all bent up. Got a new tail light.
Don't get me out there on the road. I found out the brake lights don't work. Hey man, as far as I know, the is tip top.
The hood flap, rubber straps, and the door straps are all broken, so I got a whole bag of all those. So we're gonna start putting all this stuff on here. Man, I sure hope the drivetrain on these things are built better than the rest of the machine, because like the tubing is so thin on these things, and the way the hood's held on everything, it's like I said, glorified golf car. I mean, it gets phenomenal traction, but everything is spindly on this thing. I highly doubt the improvements you know, quality's come up at all. I mean, look, it's held up for people beating on it for many years, but the build quality, the metal is just so thin. It is, like I heard they took basically the Yamaha quad and expanded it a little bit to fit this platform, but it is light duty. And while I have the hood off, I'm gonna address some of the wiring. So I'm gonna put a double battery Warren winch, but this whole relay box up here, there's a bunch of relays in it, it's just full of mud. And the wiring's been butchered. I mean, there's like, everything's fused, which is good, but there's open positive terminal here that's open right by the frame. Clean things up, because if you want to really screw up a machine, you start butchering into the wiring. The factory wiring is usually sealed pretty well. Now that's got to be one of the gnarliest environments to try to run a stereo amplifier. I don't even know why you would. Unless they're running subs. There was just 2 speakers in the dash, so I don't know why you'd even bother with that. Just run it off the head unit in there. But because this is my first side-by-side, and this is the closest I've ever worked around one. Coming from the K truck, owning that's a scaled down working automobile. That's scaled down. These are scaled up from a little quad, and they just seem really light duty, but I guess they hold up. Whoever installed these HID lights were into some wizardry here, because this hardware is so buckled and so far up and in here. Yeah, I pulled off the roller for the winch. I think some things have been bent slightly up here too, but man, I had some LEDs, but I'm gonna rethink where I put them. Probably weld some new mounts totally to drop down from the front, keep the winch more open, because it sure looks buggered up here. I'm gonna re-weld this grill too, because someone hacked it out to clear these things. So get these pieces of kit out of here and get some other lights. So one of the problems the previous owner said that this thing had was the back brake pads were shot. Said there was some in the glove box, but it turned out to be the wrong stuff. So I ordered front and back brakes for this thing. And this is a 660, so it has a center mounted driveline caliper. 700s, I guess, went 2 individual discs on each back wheel. So these slider pins here, this one barely moves and this one's stuck, so that's probably why the pads wore really unevenly. I don't know if I showed you the pads are. This backing plate's bent on this one, basically down to metal there. Well, have you ever heard the term rode hard, put away wet? Yeah, this thing's been beat on. I mean, I don't think it's super high miles, but it's been off-roaded pretty heavily. There's just mud packed in here. While I'm in here, I'm going to change the rear diff oil, because by the looks of this skid plate and all the hardware, it's probably hasn't been taken off in a long time. Rotor's a little chafed up, but I don't have another one, so we're gonna call it good. It's not gouged that bad, just a little rough because of frame dents and stuff. Oh well, clean this thing up, change that rear diff fluid as well, and hopefully not have to be in here for a while. Oh man, that looks like some pretty gross rear diff fluid. So unfortunately, this thing had a little less than half of the oil it's supposed to have in the rear diff. It's got 100 cc's, it's supposed to hold 250, and the oil looks pretty gnarly. So glad I got that changed out here. Gonna put some new stuff in. This is what's supposed to be recommended for it. So we're gonna dump some of this 80-90 weight in there. Got the differential fluid changed, got the brake pads in. I did not have any .4 brake fluid, so I had to run to town. Now we're back. I'm gonna teach my older son how to bleed the brakes on here. My younger son, what are you doing here? You cleaning up your Tonka vehicle? Go scrub that thing down. Good job. So I'm gonna explain the brake system to you. This is your master cylinder, and on the top it'll say DOT.4 it says. So we make sure we got .4 brake fluid. You wanna put the proper number in the proper system. Put the top back on it. That's your master cylinder, and that's connected to your brake pedal right over here. That's your brake pedal. When you push this down, it pushes a piston in there and pushes fluid out through that cylinder out to your brakes, front and back. Push your foot down on that brake pedal. And hold it down. No, that's your gas. Yeah, that's your brake. Push it down and hold it there. And keep it there. I'm going to open up a valve and you might feel the pedal drop. Keep your foot on. Don't let up until I tell you to let up, okay? I'm going to close a valve back there, the bleeder valve. Yeah. I'm going to say let up, and you can let up and pump it a few times. And I say hold down the foot down on the pedal again. You're going to hold it down like that until I tell you to let up. The important thing is you don't let up until I tell you, okay? All right, buddy. How's this Tonka truck coming along? You doing great? Looks excellent. All right, sounds good. Okay, push it down. Okay, let up. Yep. Pump it. So the bleeder was really hard to get to with the position of this, so I just pulled off the wheel. I also want to raise this thing up and check the wheel bearings, but I'm realizing that these front pads are down to metal. Probably have to get new rotors at some point, but for right now, I'm glad I bought 3-pack, got the fronts and backs on that Amazon order, because these are down to metal. Little neglect there. All right, let's pull these off and fix those up. So unfortunately, like I mentioned, the front pads were down to metal. So I went in to try to remove them with the 5mm hardware, and it just rounded out. Either they were locked in there with Loctite, or possibly nature's Loctite, rusted and corroded in. So I ended up upsizing from 5mm, so next size up in standard, and pounded it in, tried to remove it. Still wouldn't come out. They're a stock Nissan calipers. I'd probably try to rebuild them, extract that with the bolt extractor, but they were like 25 bucks for right and left fully loaded on Amazon, so go that route. Unfortunately, we're doing the waiting game, waiting on more parts. So I took a few days off on the Rhino here because I was waiting on some parts. Here's the calipers. I'm going to put these on. The ball joints were shot up front. Tie rod ends were worn out. And someone modified this tailgate hardware, but the problem is when you close the tailgate, you flex the bed side out. I don't like that. So I got this, but I think I'm going to have to build a bracket for this. So let's jump into finishing up the brakes here. Oh man, that's a pretty good size one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look at it go.
Is that the mouse?
I think that's a space, yeah. Look at it go.
Why are you not fitting?
Well, he's just trying to get out of here so a bird doesn't get him. You mind put him in some soft soil so he can kind of dig back down to the ground?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good boy. So this is a good opportunity for the boys to learn about stuff like this. They've been interested in it, and they can help me do the stuff like taking the wheels off and bleeding the brakes and just kind of being around that mechanical stuff a little more. They both enjoy it, so it's kind of like a mini car, and they get to learn bits and pieces about it. And I think it's a good thing to know how to work on your old stuff, especially as you get older. So that is crazy. Check it out. It's not sticking to it. It's sticking to it. So Amazon is actually probably a more durable part. That is crazy. Well, that's good. Got a bunch of parts here. I did notice the wheel bearings don't feel the best, so I'm gonna probably order some new wheel bearings because they're really stiff and the seals are looking pretty bad. Split open and just notchy feeling. So I'm glad I pulled apart and got a whole kit because this is just worn out too. I'm gonna take these in and press them in at work. My lunch break. I'm gonna see if I can repair that boot, if I have another one laying around here. Yeah, boot, and then put this back together. Unfortunately, got to order more parts. Oh well. Yeah, like I said, unfortunately, got to order more parts. I've learned a lesson towards the end of this project, and that is if you're going to take something apart on it, and it's something you can get for a fairly decent price, you better just have a new rebuild kit right there. I just keep finding that every time you take a part off of this machine, it's 20 years old. Of course, it's worn out, so I'll just replace it with new stuff. And if I don't have the parts on hand, that just means it's going to sit for a few days until I do have the parts. Well, those were a little bit of a bugger there to get out. A little bit of a lip of rust on the inside I'm going to clean out. I'm going to clean this up and put some fresh Amazon bearings. Hopefully that doesn't bite me in the butt. They seem like they had pretty good review on them on Amazon. We'll see. These ones were getting stuck. This one spun all right, but I think it was the outer one was feeling pretty notchy. So one thing I noticed with this machine, when I pulled apart the wheel bearings, there wasn't a stitch of grease anywhere on that thing. Same with the axle. When I pulled the CV joint out here, there was no grease on the splines. Everything I found that's been taken apart on this thing has been bone dry. So I like to wipe a little grease over all those surfaces, and then everything like that just goes back together smoother. It comes apart better. Here's a little piece right here. I had to replace this tie rod end. Again, it was another aluminum stock one. And I got an aftermarket ones, and the YouTube channel 𝗔𝗶𝗃 recommended me getting some American Star tie rod ends. They were far more strong. They're chromoly. So I took his advice on that because he's like, man, you don't want a tie rod end to break when you're going down the road or trail. Definitely could be a life-changing situation.
These are really tiny bottles. Are these tinier than you?
What'd you bring over there for me? Oh, thank you. Thank you for holding the light over here.
Yeah.
getting this thing all wrapped up, at least its first stage of repairs, and finally can get to use it for its first job around here. I'm hauling a bunch of poles from a friend's place on that Harbor Freight trailer I got last winter, and I know it's probably too heavy of a load for the tow hitch on here. Definitely probably exceeded its tow limits, but it's been a little braced up in the back frame section anyways by a previous owner, and it's nice to be able to start hauling some logs and doing some work with that thing. Definitely probably exceeded its capability, but oh well. Going into fall, starting a project like this is kind of a good way to spend the shorter days working on it in the evenings if you can fit it in the shop. My shop's a little small to fit this thing in, but anyhow, this is what we got it planned for. It's just taking out me and my son off-roading. It did come with a heater. Someone put an aftermarket heater box in the thing, and it's got the window and roof. I eventually want to do a back roll bar and enclose the back end with some canvas and some windows just to kind of keep it a much more heated cab. Around here it doesn't get that terribly cold, just a little above freezing, but it almost constantly is raining. We're out in the rainforest. So as I was doing research on this Rhino, I found my new favorite channel. It's called In the Woods. This fella's from the Canadian Rockies, hauls fired with this side-by-side, does multi-day camping trips, documents it, great commentary, great trail ethic about cleaning up trails, cutting trees out of the way, keeping campsites cleaner than when you found them. Just really cool spots he goes to, old historical mining camps and old cabins along the way, and documents the whole journey. So definitely check out his channel. He's got about 6,000 subscribers. I'd love to see him get some more. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, click on his channel. It'll be linked below. Highly recommend checking out his videos and subscribing. All right, back to the vid. The engine compartment cover off here because I was adjusting the shifter earlier and I decided to pop out the air filter, and it's gnarly. I sprayed some air filter cleaner on it, but I may just end up replacing this thing. There's a lot of dog hair on it too, but yeah, it's pretty grimy. I'm gonna spray this off, see if it cleans up, but it's probably not worth a gamble. Something like an air filter, I'll probably just order a new one. Well, the rain chased me out of my place. Like I said, I couldn't get this in the shop. So going into the weekend, it started pouring down rain when I had time to work on this. So I put it on my trailer, hauled down to my buddy's dry shop, good lighting, and ended up working on it down there. Changed oil, had a bunch of different little tune-up things to do, and just wanted to keep the project going along, but not in a downpour, working on it outside. One thing that Yamaha didn't engineer very well was a location for an oil filter, at least for not making a mess. No matter how many rags you put underneath that thing, spills out everywhere down the side of the engine on the belly pan of the machine. But oh well. Yeah, this is a little kit I ended up ordering off of eBay. It came with the Yamaha oil, little crush washer, and oil filter. Just figured I want to set a baseline for this machine and make sure it's tuned up every mile I put on it at this point, and know I got all fresh oils and everything. And yeah. A little bit more for the Yamaha oil, but I think it's good quality oil. All right, now that I got the oil changed, I'm gonna jump in here. I noticed when you put it in low range, you have to push over the shifter a few times. Light will finally come on, it'll go in gear, but it'll pop out on occasion. I played around with the adjustment on this. It didn't seem to help. These gears are really common to have problems, rust away, and the teeth get a ton of play in them. So I got online, I was going to get a gasket. I ordered this whole kit on Amazon. I figured Yamaha, this is a common problem with these Rhinos. And if they didn't do a good job the first time with gears, I might as well take my luck on Amazon here. So let's jump in here and see how these gears look. Well, pretty sure that is all condensation comes up in the engine. Either someone replaced these or they're in perfect shape. Glad I got that gasket, but look at that. That's some pretty nasty sludge in there. Must be condensation because it's the highest point of the engine here, and I don't think it's vented. So the gears actually look good. Yeah, like I said, the common problem for these things, for those teeth to kind of corrode out and rust out over time. So I don't know if someone already replaced it or what, but end up fiddling with the shift adjustment a lot more after this and finally got it to fine tune in there. So it goes into low range, it goes in reverse and all the gears. Still think I need to clean my neutral safety switch so I don't have to start with the brake on all the time, even in neutral, but it's good enough. It's actually shifting and not popping out of gear now. When I was in there, I noticed my carburetor boot was off the intake manifold almost completely. Not awesome. Definitely a good way to ruin an engine. So hopefully that was something that just got bumped off there recently, or hopefully hasn't sucked in too much dirt, but definitely going to address that because that's a good way to destroy an engine. Well, it's fall and it's been raining so bad. That's why I brought the side-by-side down here yesterday to work on it at my friend's place. Got the oil change yesterday, a few other little things, worked on the linkage, fixed up the seat belts. One thing I thought I was done with, and I'm glad I didn't put that skid plate on. I was waiting for more hardware because this thing has been smashed up so much. The hardware is all broken. I got a new bag of hardware. Remember I did the differential oil? Well, I noticed a little pool of oil every time I park it is red. So this side seal is leaking. I ordered a new differential seal kit, but I'm actually just gonna do that one seal. That's the only one that's leaking. So we're gonna pull this tire off, pull the CV joint out, roll that seal out, put a new one in, top it up on oil. Hopefully put the skid plate on, and then maybe finally I'll be done under there for now. Well, by this point, weeks into this project, I think I learned my lesson. Before I take anything apart, just buy new parts, because the seals, the seal lips are all split and shot. The bearings, they spin. They're not as bad as that front one I did, but back seals are all split and cracked, and probably end up putting new bearings back here. But time being, because I don't have any parts for this thing yet, I'm just going to put it back together and plan on ordering it next time I jump in here, redo all those bearings and seals. But probably take the time when I do that to drop the A-arms and repaint them as well. But we're jumping in here for the seal for now. But I need to learn my lesson. Just have new parts on hand for everything and just plan on them being shot. I think it's just the age of the machine. That's all. You can see there's been a bunch of grit in here and on the seal. Probably could just go through and clean all that grit off that seal. It'd be fine, but we got new replacement, so we're going to pop that in next. All right, got it out. So I paid about $2,000 to $2,500 cheaper than a lot of these things are going for on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. I know they're old machines, but they hold the resale value, at least in the Northwest. I think they sell from $5,500 to $6,500 still out here, depending on the condition. So like I said, I got it for a bit less than that. Unfortunately, it's taken a lot of time. I didn't replace much for OEM parts. I just tried to find the best stuff that had the best reviews on Amazon. Might bite me in the butt, but hey, it's got to probably be better than 20-year-old worn out parts. But, you know, all said and done, time is money, and it was fun working on it at some points. Some points I just kind of want to use it. So I don't know if I would go this route again, fix it up. I mean, it's kind of a fun video for you guys to watch. It's been kind of fun working on with the kids on occasion, but honestly, I got it for using it, not just for working on it constantly. So if I had to say do it all over again, I don't know. Maybe it'd be better just to find a really well-kept, garage-kept machine. I know this one had a lot of nice aftermarket stuff on it. Some of it was beat up, some of it were removed, but maybe spend an extra $2,000 to $2,500 and get a really good low mileage unit. May have been a better call. I don't know. Time will tell. So like I mentioned before, it had some pretty cool accessories that came with it, like the roof, window, heater box in there, the extended doors. One thing I did not mention was this thing has actually been modified for road use, so it has all the blinkers, everything to make it street legal, came with the plate. So it's legal in Washington state roads to drive it, I think 35 miles an hour to less roads. So you can ride it down paved roads, get to the trails, get to the riding spots you want, ride it home, you don't have to trailer it everywhere. That's a really cool option that's been already added onto it that I don't have to do. So I bought a bag of these little plastic screw style inserts because a lot of these body panels are falling off. I can't believe how cheaply these things are put together, but I guess that's the life of side-by-sides. I had motorcycles and quads that seemed like they were built better like this, but I mean, it's held up for 20 years. So gonna put a bunch of these inserts in here and hopefully they stay in. Well, finally got it, so it's working pretty well. I wanted to show this yacht because this is that Harbor Freight, newer Harbor Freight Haulmaster trailer they're selling. And this thing has 2-inch wheel spacers on each side, so it basically has a 4-inch wider track. And it just barely fits on there, probably 1.5 inches between each sidebar of the trailer. But it does fit on the trailer really well. It hauls it really nicely. So I'm really happy I got that trailer to haul this thing around if I want to take it, you know, out to where my cabin is, my snowboard cabin, and explore the Forest Service roads a few hundred miles away. I could just put it on a trailer. But finally, me and my son are taking this thing out for a ride, and he's pumped. So we're going to go for a little bit of trail ride in the fall weather and just have a good time. I still have a lot more stuff I want to do, like install a small Jeep back seat in the back of this for my kids, seat belts, a roll bar, maybe a little canvas top. Still got a lot more maintenance things to do to this as well. So if you guys want to see a part 2, leave that comment down below. Say I would like to see a part 2. Gives me an idea of the interest in seeing another part. And if you're not interested in part 2, you'll probably see some off-roading, maybe a little bit of camping with this thing, but for sure some trail riding, some off-roading with it. So yeah, leave a comment down below if you'd like to see that or not, and what else you'd like to know about this machine. So not only are we going to be taking this thing off-road more and doing some trail riding, we're also going to be using around the place for a lot of utility stuff. Here, I'm just utilizing the roof because the bed's so short on this thing to haul a bunch of scrap metal or salvage metal to a project. This is a little sneak peek, a little project I've been working on this fall. I'll make a video of. I'm actually working on a storage area to store more of these machines, just like I need to get some stuff out of the rain. So hauling this up to my mill, trying to beat the rainstorm that's coming in this weekend. And I've utilized a bunch of free poles from a friend's place. I'm building this whole pole structure for covering my skid steer and my Rhino for about $50. So that video is going to come up pretty soon. A lot of machines being ran, just working with what I got to build a simple lean-to.